Hello folks, my name is Mark. This is Why I Hit the World. How you guys doing? So we are going to talk about the economy today, and specifically how Donald Trump destroyed what was a perfectly good and functioning and working economy, and how he did it within 90 days of taking power. We actually did have a pretty good economy back on January 1st before Trump was sworn in. Yeah, we faced a lot of challenges when it came to things like inflation and stuff like that, and the lingering results of COVID policy. But you know something? A lot of countries around the world had these same problems, and we were dealing with them in the United States rather well. We had what would be envious of any other country on earth as far as how our economy weathered the storm and recovered after COVID. And yeah, there were problems. Yeah, there were problems with inflation and things like that. And honestly, the economy is never good for the poor and the working class. But it was a lot better than what we're seeing today. Donald Trump took that success and he destroyed it in less than 90 days. And how did he do that? He did that by enacting tariffs because he doesn't know what the fuck tariffs are. Right? That's what we need to remember. Donald Trump has no clue what tariffs are or what they do. And if he does, then he's an asshole for doing it. If he knows exactly what he's doing, then he's an asshole and he doesn't give a shit about your job. If he doesn't know what he's doing, then he's an asshole and he doesn't give a shit about your job. Either way, he fucked this up. This happened because of him. So I want to show you guys something here. This is from CNBC. U.S. stock market loses $5 trillion in value in 3 weeks. Very, very short article. You can see this stock trader here, whoever he is not very happy. Let's just read through this because this is very, very quick. The S&P 500's rapid 10% decline from a record high into correction territory has wiped out trillions of dollars in market value. The market value of the S&P 500 at its February 19th peak was $52.06 trillion, according to FactSet. Thursday's decline put the index market value down to $46.78 trillion. That makes for a total loss of about $5.28 trillion in about 3 weeks. Why did this happen? Let's read on. The decline has come in the shadow of President Donald Trump's burgeoning trade war with several of the United States' major trading partners, with headlines about tariffs at times seeming to drive market moves. No shit, really? You mean if Donald Trump enacts tariffs on our closest trading partners and then they enact counter tariffs back, that is going to affect the market? No, really? There have also been signs of slowing economic growth with weak consumer sentiment surveys and tepid outlooks from retailers like Walmart. Our interactions with clients indicate the mood music is changing. While many see the recession talk as premature, concerns about erratic policy from the new administration abound, with the uncertainty tax hitting growth expectations, Barclays strategist Emmanuel Cao said in a note to clients. What does that mean exactly? The uncertainty tax, right? What is this guy talking about? So the economy is healthy when it's stable. For a macroeconomic view, it doesn't matter if prices are high or if prices are low or whatever, or if job growth is low or high. It doesn't matter. What matters is stability, right? When the economy is stable, when people have a good sense that they know what's going to happen in the next year, the next couple of months, whatever, then investors have more confidence. They're more likely to invest their money. When things are not stable, when they don't know what the hell is going on, they don't know what's going to happen, people tend to hold their money back. And it makes perfect sense. Do you invest in the stock market when the stock market is going up and down like crazy? No. Do you invest in a new venture with your firm if you don't know that if next week there's going to be a 25% tariff on the product you make? No. And it's just smart to do this. You know, you hold back until you can have some stability, until it's safe. Because you're a fool if you just throw your money away like this when shit is going crazy. That's what this means. So it's an uncertainty tax. So a lot of investors are like, oh, well, I'm not going to waste my money here because something Donald Trump tweets while he's on the toilet fucking next week is going to fuck everything up. That's why the fucking stock market is losing money like crazy, and shit is starting to hit the fan. Let's read a little bit more, though. Another contributing factor to the decline appears to be the unwind of the growth trade related to artificial intelligence. Since February 19th, NVIDIA is down 17%, and the Roundhill Magnificent 7 ETF has fallen 16%. Yeah, okay, that's true, but honestly, I could give a fuck about AI. I'm actually kind of glad that the AI bubble is bursting a little bit, but that's a subject for another video. AI is starting to pop, the bubble for AI is starting to pop, but the major driving force of our recent economic downturn has been Donald Trump's ridiculous trade war that he started with Mexico and Canada for no good goddamn reason. See, Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand what a trade war actually is. He doesn't seem to get it. And this is something that he campaigned on through the previous presidential campaign. This is something that he just kept saying over and over. Yeah, we're going to tariff China because it's unfair. And Mexico and China and Canada, they're going to pay the tariffs. And he doesn't seem to understand that a tariff is a tax, but it's not a tax on the foreign country that you're slapping the tariffs on. It's a tax on the American people. Because when we import goods from those countries, which we need to, which we have to because we don't produce all of the stuff that we need to survive as a society in the United States. So when we import these goods, the importer has to pay the extra tariff, the 25% or however much it is that Donald Trump is charging. So that cost gets passed on down to you. What do you expect, huh? Do you think they're just going to eat the cost? Do you think that's what's going to happen? Do you think that when they import lumber from Canada or they import avocados from Mexico, that the importer is just going to like, oh, well, I guess it costs 25% more. I'm just going to make 25% less in profit. Do you think that's what's going to happen? Hell no. No, the price goes up by 25%, and it goes all the way up down to the consumer. And it's not just buying the raw materials either. So that's the other thing that conservatives and MAGA people don't seem to understand. It's not just, oh, this lumber costs 25% more, so when I go buy a piece of wood, it costs $12 instead of $8. No, that's not it. It's everything that gets made with these materials. Even things manufactured in the United States are going to cost more. So if you buy furniture made out of wood that comes from Canada, it's going to cost more. If you buy a house with wooden framing that comes from Canada, it's going to cost more. This is what they don't get. This is the price of the raw materials translates into higher prices at the retail counter for everyone. And just on everything that we buy from them, everything that we manufacture here, even things that are manufactured in the United States, which use materials from these other countries. Well, then you say, okay, then just get the materials from American suppliers. Well, we don't have these suppliers in the United States. We don't have enough wood and lumber and raw materials for a lot of the things that we manufacture in the United States. We don't have enough growers who grow all of the different kinds of food that we want to eat. Okay, most of the food in the United States actually is exported because we grow cash crops. We grow things like, tons and tons of soybeans and wheat and stuff like that. We grow way more than we can actually use. But we don't grow things like avocados. I mean, yeah, there's some avocado growers in California and some in Florida, but we get the majority of those from Mexico. Why? Because that's their industry. See, this is how the shit works. This is how international trade works. We trade the things that we're good at producing, things that we're great at producing, things like corn and wheat and soybeans, and then we trade them for things we're not that good at producing, like avocados and, other fruits and vegetables that are grown in Mexico. We trade it for raw materials. We trade it for oil. Okay, I mean, well, oil is actually sold on the open market. But you get the idea, Canadian energy, a lot of that comes from Canada. A lot of the oil we use comes from Canada, stuff like that. This is how it works. One country has too much of one thing and not enough of another. And so they go and they trade. It's not that hard to fucking understand. So when you put a tax on some of the shit we're importing, well, the other country, not to be outdone, it's only logical that they would put a counter tax back on the shit that you're importing, right? Because they don't want their people to be at a disadvantage as well. So they put a counter tariff in order to stop that. Prices end up going higher. Everybody loses. And this costs people jobs. That's the thing. All of this translates down to jobs. Because now you're going to have importers that can't afford to import as much as they used to, which means they make less money, which means that jobs get cut. And this is what's going to happen. And it's going to affect the red states the most because Canada and Mexico are making targeted tariffs in order to affect Trump's base in the South. And you know what? I say good, because these people need to understand what the hell they fucking unleashed upon us. Good example of this, Kentucky bourbon. I read an article last week where Canada put a very targeted tariff on whiskey, which is manufactured in Kentucky. Kentucky is one of the reddest states we have. Okay, they've been voting conservative literally for like decades and decades and decades. This is going to cost people jobs. Okay. In a state like Kentucky, which only has 3 or 4 million people anyway, when you lose something like 50,000 jobs, that's a major fucking impact there. And that's what's going to happen because they can't export their liquor anymore. Canada's doing this on purpose in order to hurt Republicans, and I'm kind of for it. I'm kind of for it because, you know what? They're the ones that caused all of this shit by fucking voting for this goddamn moron in the White House. Maybe if they wouldn't have voted for this fucking imbecile who said he was going to fuck up their industries and take away their jobs, then the stock market wouldn't have lost $5 trillion. Then we wouldn't be facing a fucking recession, because that's what we're facing. Right? I don't think people understand this. We are facing a recession now. People say, oh, well, these tariffs didn't come into effect yet. Donald Trump announced them in January, and then he didn't, and then they haven't come into effect, and then they will, and then they haven't. That's what's causing the problem. It's the uncertainty. Okay, will he or won't he do it? I don't know. Will they be delayed another month this time? And you read conflicting stories. You say, oh, they came into effect, and then he said, oh, well, they won't affect anything that wasn't covered under the previous trade agreement that he had negotiated in 2019 and all this other shit. This all leads up to the fact that people don't know what the hell's going on. And when people don't know what's going on, right, especially capitalists with their investment money, when they don't know what's going on, they don't invest the money. This is how capitalism works. Okay, this is a weakness of capitalism, actually. So jobs end up getting lost. There's less money in the economy, less people end up getting paid, and shit goes south. Shit starts to unravel. And the thing about it, this isn't just like something we can reverse on a dime. See, a lot of this shit I'm seeing out of Donald Trump's White House, I don't really worry about too much, because a lot of it is done with executive order and stuff like that. Like a lot of the things where he's like cutting different agencies and stuff like that, I don't really worry too much about that, because as soon as he's out of power, the next president can put all of that stuff back, right? But this stuff actually is important. This is pretty bad. This is something that is going to take years and years and years to reverse, because once you lose access to those markets, it is very hard to get those back. A good example of that is that when Donald Trump put a 15% tax on everything coming out of China, a lot of American farmers who would usually sell soybeans and things to China lost access to those markets. And then when Joe Biden became president, he tried to undo some of this, and he couldn't, because it was too late. Those farmers already lost out, and China got their soybeans from other places. See, that's the thing. These are business deals. So why would, for example, China decide to come back to the United States if they think in another 4 years some other crazy fucking Republican is going to show up and fuck everything all over again? Why would they decide to start doing business with us? Why wouldn't they just stay with the suppliers they have that they were forced to go find after Donald Trump fucked it up last time? Why wouldn't they just stay with them? At least they know, hey, this guy is stable, and we are going to get what we need every year, instead of having to fucking renegotiate every time some asshole with a red hat fucking becomes president. That's what happened last time. And the federal government had to bail out all of the farmers to the tune of something like $9 billion. They had to take a government bailout in order to keep a lot of these farmers from going bankrupt. And that's what's going to happen this time too. Except it's going to be huge and giant, and there's not going to be enough fucking money to bail everybody out who's affected by this. It's going to lead to, if we're lucky, it'll lead to a recession. That's what you need to understand. If you live in the United States right now, you should start saving your money. Save your money. Stop buying stuff you don't need. Try not to eat out so much. Try to pay off as much debt as you can. Because shit is going to hit the fan, and it's going to hit the fan because of Donald Trump, because the economy is going to be hard. Food is going to be more expensive. You're not going to know what's going to be available week to week. It's going to be hard to get a job, and this is going to happen because of Donald Trump fucking up decades and decades of established trading partners, right? In trade policy. Just to kind of show you guys how devastating this is. This is from the Government of Canada, a list of products from the United States subject to 25% tariffs effective March 13th, 2025. Effective March 13th, the Government of Canada is imposing 25% tariffs on $29.8 billion in products imported from the United States. Now let's just go take a look. You see how on the sidebar here, look at the sidebar where my mouse is. See this? That's how long this list is, okay? And it is literally every fucking thing that the United States makes. And I'm just going to kind of start scrolling. You can kind of see things. Oh, look, there's gold, platinum, metals, pearls, imitation jewelry, flat rolled products of iron, alloy, steel, things like that. Let's just scroll down. Let's scroll down. Basically, if you create metals and that kind of thing in the United States, steel and iron, you're getting a tariff, right? Stainless steel. Let's just kind of scroll down. You see where my mouse is? See how long this fucking list is? Here we go. Stoves, ranges, grates, cookers, things like that. All of that's getting it. Table, kitchen, and other household articles. Other articles of aluminum. Basically anything made out of aluminum. Hand tools. I'm skipping tons and tons of shit here. Padlocks and keys. Base metal mountings. Fittings and similar articles suitable for furniture, doors. Basically staircases. Things like screws and nails and that kind of thing. Machinery, planner, laboratory equipment, wire rods, tubes, plates, electrodes, all kinds of crap like this. Telephone sets, including smartphones and other telephones. You can see the list goes on and on. Monitors, wristwatches, lighting fixtures, tricycles, scooters, pedal cars, prefabricated buildings. Basically, every single thing we make in the United States is now getting a 25% tariff because of Donald Trump. You see how long this fucking list is? See this? I'm like scrolling through it. Look at that. Look how long this list is. Okay, this will affect you. This affects you. Do you work for a company that makes something? It affects you. Do you buy stuff? It affects you. This is what's going to happen. All of those industries are going to get a 25% increase. It's going to affect you, right? If you work for a company that makes something like that, it's going to affect you. And this is not counting the fact that in Canada and Mexico, people are just boycotting stuff from the United States now because they're pissed. They're pissed. I'm sure you've all seen the news videos and things like that of people in Canada just like completely boycotting anything that's American made. And do you think that's going to go away? Do you think people are going to forget about that? No, people are pissed off because this affects their jobs too. All right. People in Canada and Mexico are also going to be feeling the hurt the same way that we are, right? Everybody is going to lose in this situation, and they're going to lose because of Donald Trump, and it's going to cause turmoil. Shit is going to hit the fan. We need to understand this, and we as people on the left, we need to win the communication war on this, because they're going to do the best they can to try to blame this on Joe Biden and the Democrats. Even though Joe Biden is not the president, even though the Democrats do not have any power at all, the Democrats have no power. Okay, the Republicans have the presidency, they have the Supreme Court, they have both houses of Congress. They're making all the decisions. Okay, they're passing everything that they want. They're the ones in charge. They're going to blame it on Democrats. And we need to not allow that to happen. every time you post about stuff, if you still post about things on social media, you need to point this out, that this didn't have to happen. It was Donald Trump that caused this. And every time you see Fox News or something like that try to blame this on Biden, oh, that's the Biden economy, I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing videos and stories about how they're trying to blame the stock market crash on Joe Biden, stuff like that. It's like, nope, that's bullshit. I think people aren't going to fall for it this time. I mean, I know the MAGA people will, because they'll fucking believe anything. But I think the general populace, you know, the 70% of us who are not MAGA insane people, I don't think we're going to fall for it. And we need to, as activists, as people who are resisting fascism, part of our job needs to be messaging and making sure that the people in your circles, the people in your orbit, know what's actually fucking going on. Okay? So yeah, use what you got. All right? A lot of us, I know that we're not all, you know, not all of us are super like savvy when it comes to like social media. You know, not all of us have like 500,000 followers or whatever. But use what you got. Okay? When you post things, post the truth. Make sure that they know, hey, the Republicans caused this. Elon Musk caused this. Donald Trump caused this with their stupid fucking tariffs, right? Make sure you communicate that. Make sure when you talk to your friends and your family about this kind of thing, that they're all on the same page. Because this is how we can fight back. This is one thing we can do to fight back. So when the next time an election comes around, which we will have elections, that's another thing I'm seeing from, like, you know, leftists and progressives and stuff. They're afraid that we won't have elections. Yes, we will. Okay? Yes, we will. There will be elections, and when the time comes, we need to be ready. We need to be ready to pounce, right? Because the only people who are going to be able to reverse this shit is us. Yeah, in the meantime, there's going to be some hurt. So, yeah, like I said, save your money. Don't buy shit you don't need. Try to pay off your debt. Polish up your resume. There's a good chance that you may need it in the next couple of years, and just hunker down and get ready to weather the storm. Take care of yourself, take care of your families, and you know, don't let them gaslight you, I guess is all I got to say. Thank you so much, everyone. Talk to you all later. Adios.
Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.